Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, it's nice when things are nice. And you know what? If you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean that you're in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast, where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals and we pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more, in a light and in a conversational fashion. And you know, if you like how we do things around here, I am going to go out on a limb and assume that you do, because let's face it, you're listening right now. So if you are, please keep listening and subscribe. Hit the old subscribe button, give us a little 5-star rating on your podcast provider of choice. We're everywhere. We're a place like Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google. And plus, we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So you can give us a like and subscribe there as well. We'd absolutely appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on social media. We're on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, Letterboxd, the TikTok, the Threads, the Blue Sky, everywhere. I'm losing track. But we're In the Seats for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because guess what? If we love to watch it and write about it and talk about it, we love it all that much more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So please do us that ultimate kindness. Come on by and pay us a visit. You know, we'll admit in this line of work sometimes we fall a little behind. Things fall by the wayside. And this fell by the wayside. And it shouldn't have. And we apologize for that because it's still playing in theaters. And it's such a nice movie. It's probably one of the nicest movies of the year. It's maybe one of my favorite movies of the year. It's The Life of Chuck from writer-director Mike Flanagan and based on the Stephen King novella. It's a life-affirming story that kind of plays with genre a little bit. It's Mike Flanagan, Stephen King, of course it does, and it's 3 chapters in the life of an ordinary man who's, well, maybe a little more extraordinary than we give him credit for, named Charles Krantz, played by the wonderful Tom Hiddleston. And it's a great role. It's a great performance. It's a great movie. If you want something that's going to put a smile on your face and really sort of give you sort of a positive affectation on life, there's something about this movie that appreciates life and it's living it and the living of it, and it's a beautiful thing. And in the build up to this movie, we had the unique pleasure of sitting down and talking with one of the stars of the film. He has a small role. I mean, I don't want to say small roles, but he's not on camera much. But it is a pivotal role in the film. It's the one and only Matthew Lillard, who you may know from Scream and Scooby-Doo and other things. But he does a great job in the movie, and everyone who's in it does a great job. I mean, there's Mark Hamill, Mia Sara, who comes back out of retirement, Karen Gillan, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Jacob Tremblay. This is such a good movie. If it is still in theaters, go check it out. But first, enjoy our talk with the one and only Matthew Lillard, because between you and me, it's a pretty darn good one. All right, well, Matthew, man, first off, just thank you so much for the time today, and just man, congrats on the movie. I love it, absolutely love it.
No, thank you so much.
Now, I mean, I guess my first question is like, when a script like this comes across your desk, is it like, do they ask you to read for something, or is it just a question of like, let me do something? Because again, it's one of those stories that feels so kind of transcendent and really kind of magical in so many different ways.
Yeah, this one was a little interesting in that, Elon Gale, one of the producers of the movie, and called me up. He's friends of James Gunn. He was like, hey, let's go grab lunch. And also Mike Flanagan wants to join. And I was like, great. I didn't know Mike's work at the time, but we went and sat and had lunch. And unlike most Hollywood lunches, like usually take an hour and hang out and BS. But we sat there for 3 hours. We closed the restaurant down and had a great time. And at the end of that, Mike's like, hey, someday we're going to work together. And I was like, yeah, I had $1 for every director that said that. I'd be a rich man. And he's like, no, I'm going to call you one day. We're going to definitely work together. I'm like, great. Well, you call me and I will come running. And so I was dropping my kid off at Carnegie Mellon and got a call from Mike. He's like, hey, I've got a part for you. It's very small, but if you want to do it, I would love for you to come do it. There's no pressure. There's no money. We're shooting in Alabama, but if you're interested, come down. But there's no, but this doesn't, the size of the part doesn't reflect what I think of you as an actor. I'm like, okay, I'm like, you don't have to send it to me. I'm in. He's like, "Oh, I feel better if you read it." I'm like, "Well, I'll read it, but I'm in." And so I jumped at it because I want to work with Mike Flanagan. And it just so happens that the movie is beautiful. It just so happens that this little gem of a film is like a real gift to the world right now. And I'm lucky to be a part of it. But the reality is that I'm there to sort of be a part of Mike's world. And I'm so lucky to be.
Now, I mean, I'm curious because obviously, without giving too much away, your part really is a bit of a linchpin moment in the movie, sort of setting up the audience to sort of make us understand what's going on. How do you sort of turn off your brain and just be sort of the character in the moment? Because I mean, I can imagine as a storyteller and an actor, you're like, holy shit, this is actually a pivotal part in the movie, even though I'm only on it for a couple of minutes.
Oh yeah, I don't think that's the case. I think that I mean, look, the reality is that I think he's there to give a lot of exposition about what's
Right,
happening. He's
right.
like setting the tone. Everyone knows I play his character Gus, his blue collar worker, and he's setting the tone of like the world falling apart. It just so happens that I, in this moment, had found this like sort of little piece of humanity
Yeah.
that affected that scene. Like it's a lovely moment for me as an actor, but I was like, here's this guy sort of um, coming to terms with his own demise.
Do you get a
And
lot of time on set, like on something like this with Mike, which he would take? Because I mean, just on paper, I can imagine this is like a 2 day shoot for you.
oh God, no, it's literally we shot it in 4 hours. I literally said last night, I'm rehearsing right now. I'm doing Carrie with Mike, and I was like, yeah, there were plenty of takes. This I said, somebody like the somebody gave me a compliment. I'm like, that's all Mike Flanagan. It's not me. I mean, I gave you a bunch of bad takes. He's like, you gave us 2 takes. There's 2 takes. I only did 2 takes of like sort of a close up. So look, at the end of the day, I got lucky on a performance moment that ended up working, that ends up feeling like this really beautiful, weighty piece of the film. And I do think that the movie kind of shifts tone in that moment because the movie from that point forward starts to, yeah, the movie's told back. It's the end of the world
Right,
told
exactly. Yeah.
parts, and you start the movie in the third act. So
Yeah.
it's the beginning of the end of the world.
No, I mean, I've got to ask because obviously, I mean, full disclosure, I'm a big fan of Fat Kid Rules the World, man. That movie never got enough love.
Thanks. I
But
totally agree. I love that movie. It's
like for you as a as an actor, but also as a filmmaker, like how does your brain kind of not go into overdrive when you get to work with someone like Mike? Because I can imagine on one end, like you have to focus on the moment, but at the same time, you could spend like another 10 3 hour lunches picking his brain.
yeah, no, that the work is the work and friendships outside of that are two totally different things. On the day, the last thing you're thinking about is like, digging into the filmmaking process. I mean, he is open to that. Yesterday during rehearsal for Carrie, he was like, he shot listed the entire show. Like the entire show's already shot listed before we even start. And so, I've never been on a TV show where I've got to read all 8 scripts before we start shooting. It's so powerful. It's really an incredible process being in his world and watching how he works. He's a machine, and it's a good machine.
What is it about Mike and specifically sort of Stephen King's work that allow for these extra layers to come out? Because I mean, obviously, when people think of Stephen King, they think of something else. But when I see this, I think of something more like Shawshank and sort of this sort of really exploration of mortality and humanity.
Yeah, I think that they're really both incredible storytellers, but
Mm.
I don't think they're one dimensional. I mean, they contain multitudes, and the reality is that they both get an opportunity to sort of flex those multiple dimensions. And look, the reality is that all artists are that, right? Just because you're a sculptor doesn't mean you don't paint. Just because you're, a comedic actor doesn't mean you don't have the ability to live in the dramatic side of things as well. It just so happens that mainstream media sort of pigeonholes you, and the good news is that on this little tiny film made on a shoestring budget in the
Mm.
middle of Alabama at the end of the pandemic, for almost nothing, has gone on to find its voice in the world, and that has allowed Mike to sort of express the other colors that he possesses.
How do you think sort of everything you've managed to do up till now has shaped you as an actor? Because I mean, obviously, you got to work with John Waters when you were young. Scream was obviously a big thing. Getting sort of, the handoff from Casey with Shaggy was a big thing. Like, how do you think that sort of molded you into sort of the performer you are today?
I mean, that's like a lifetime of experiences and how they affect you. I think that they all affect you. I think being a father of three kids, being a father of a queer kid, being an obese teenager with a learning disability, having my father suffering as he dies through dementia. I mean, all of these things shape your humanity, and your humanity is the artist you are.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's not it's the sum of the total parts, not just, the acting side of things. It's all of it.
No, I mean, just a last question because Life of Chuck is obviously this reflective, really sort of humanistic experience. Talk to me a little bit about if you could talk to the young man on the set of Ghoulies 3 back in the day, what would you say sort of in this
Uh,
all-encompassing arc of your life right now?
yeah, I would just I don't know. I would listen, I wouldn't change a damn thing, to be honest. I would probably just whisper in his ear, it's all gonna work out. Because the reality is that, you hum and haw, you have good moments and bad moments, you have work that flows and work that just dries up. But at the end of the day, it's again, this is some of the total parts that makes you who you are. And here I am at 55 years old having like the brightest shiny moment in my career. So I may not be number one on the call sheet, but I have so much work going on that I'm proud of.
Yeah.
I feel really, really lucky and grateful for the whole thing.
Matthew, man, keep up the good work. And just again, thank you for the time today. I really appreciate this.
Yeah. Appreciate you. Thanks, brother.
All right.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.